point. Yeah. Okay, so B2B largely depends on the derived demand that it receives from the B2C market. Okay, so when demand in the B2C market goes up, automatically demand in the B2B also will go up. So please remember this when you are formulating a strategy. Whichever B2B product that you are looking, where you're going to be hired or you're going to be formulating a marketing strategy, please make sure that you see how closely it is tied with the B2C. Whether there is a direct connection with the B2C, wherein if the B2C demand goes up, automatically the B2B goes up, or whether it is not connected. There are so many products that are not connected to B2C directly, right? So such kind of commodities really don't have to really be bothered about the derived demand. But most commodities that are mostly on the B2C front, which are those regular commodities and very essential commodities that we purchase on an every monthly basis. So those are the commodities that work on derived demand. Okay, just keep this in mind. Second, demand in the B2B also fluctuates. As I said, one part is the derived demand, that when the consumer sentiment in the B2C market is high, automatically the demand in B2C market also will go up. If the consumer sentiment in the B2C goes down, automatically demand in the B2B also goes down. So demand fluctuates. Okay, so I want to throw this up for you to get an understanding. Which quarter of the financial year is a very good year for B2B? Which quarter? Which quarter generally is considered to be very good both for B2C as well as B2B?
The second quarter.
Okay, when is the second quarter coming in?
So after April, like April.
Okay, tell me all the 4 quarters.
It starts with April.
Okay.
3 months, total 4.
Okay, April, May, June.
April, May, June, July, August, September.
So you're telling me July, August, September B2C is good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. July, August, September. Anybody wants to agree, disagree with that?
No, sir.
Okay, you agree or disagree?
I agree, sir.
Okay, so demand is good during that period? July, August, September, demand is good? Consumer sentiment is high in the B2C? Okay, somebody else was also answering. Jade or Cynthia, who's this?
Sir, it's Joanna.
Yeah, Joanna.
I was thinking maybe the last quarter of the year.
January, February, March?
Yes, sir.
That's the last quarter. Jan, Feb, March.
Yes, sir.
Is that when the B2C demand is high?
I'm thinking so.
Okay, why do you think so?
I thought so because of the company, the end of the year, they would know what is required for the next year or how people react or not.
Okay.
And people might also, since the start of the year, buy new things.
Okay.
I just thought so.
Okay. So you're talking keeping the B2C market in mind, right?
Yes, B2C.
Okay, B2C. Okay. So the second quarter that Nandish said, July, August, September, isn't that the time usually that you see end of season sales, clearance sales, and goods going at deep discount? If you're somebody who's, monitoring the apparel market or the fashion market, end of season sale is usually during that, in the month of August and September.
It's usually in the month of December.
Call that as EOSS, end of season sales, stock clearance sales, and commodities that are sold at 70% and above discounts are all during the second quarter. Why do you think it's happening if consumer sentiment is supposed to be good in the second quarter, Nandish? Consumer sentiment is good in the second quarter, you don't need any sort of a stimulation like the end of season sales or a deep discount sale for consumers to come to your stores. Prince and Nandish.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else has another quarter in mind for the B2C market, which is the most?
Sir, Q3.
Q3. Okay, Q3 is when, Rijo?
So, especially during October, November, December.
October, November, December. In fact, that's the right thing. Okay, for most B2C companies, especially electronic goods, fashion, and many other commodities that are related, the Q3 happens to be a very prospective period because it coincides with the festival season of Diwali. It starts with Diwali and there are a host of festivals and then finally it culminates with Christmas and New Year. Okay, so the Q3 happens to be a very, very, prospective quarter for B2C companies, and that is when companies make maximum sales because consumer sentiment is high. And India, that is also the time when bonuses are declared. If you understand, India is also a large country of industrial workers, right? Factory workers, and all of them receive bonuses during Diwali, and that coincides with Q3. And bonus during Diwali is like an extra salary that you're getting, and with that, many of them are willing to splurge, especially on home appliances, electronic commodities, a lot of gadgets. All of that gets sold during this particular period, right? If you want to do a little more research, go back and find out what has happened in the last 2 months, at least in the last 2 months. Since the unlock opened, you can see almost all commodities in the B2C market have gone up. So in Q1, what happens is it's just the beginning of the period, so not much is there other than the regular, commodities that people purchase in the B2C. So demand is slightly low, right? And demand further goes down in Q2, right? So that is the reason why, in order to stimulate demand, companies go with end of season sales. They offer deep down discounts. Another reason is also to sell off all that stock that has remained unsold over a period of time. Okay, over the last 2 or 3 quarters, if there is unsold inventory, they want to clear off that inventory so that that space can be accommodated with the fresh stock that is going to come in Q3. If you also go back and see a lot of product launches, if there are new cars that are launched, if new electronic models that are launched, or new mobile phones are launched, or new flats that are going to be launched, all of that happen in the Q3. Okay, so a lot of customers, in fact, wait for the festival season because they'll wait for discounts, right? They wait for discounts and they wait for newer products to be launched in the market. So demand is fluctuating in the B2C. When it fluctuates in the B2C, automatically it is felt in the B2B market, right? Now, what is happening with the real estate? Because I have a real estate example, mortgage. What has happened to the real estate market? Is demand high or demand low for flats and villas and new houses?
Low demand, sir.
Demand is low because post the lockdown, during the lockdown, again, a lot of crisis was felt on the job front for many of them, and now slowly things are picking up. So real estate owners do not want to reduce prices because they don't want to send out this message to the market that the real estate bubble has crashed. They don't want to give out that scenario stating that that the price cannot be held anymore in the market. So what they are requesting the government, they're requesting the government to reduce the stamp duty rates, because to make sure that at least will stimulate more people to come in. So what the government has done is lower value budget flats, especially flats and houses that are sold less than 40 lakhs, right? Flats that are sold with less than 40 lakhs, they've reduced the stamp duty, just to encourage the consumer sentiment in the market, so that when more number of consumers are wanting to buy flats and they start booking newer flats because of this additional advantage that they're getting with the reduced stamp duty, automatically the real estate market will pick up, right? So that is also what has been seen. So the demand fluctuates. So that is something that B2B players will have to keep in mind. So derived demand, fluctuating demand. You've got to understand these two things before we get to understand how the market functions. Third is stimulating demand. So some business marketers not only monitor final consumer market, but also also concentrate on their marketing program. So during Q1, Q2, and Q4, as we said, consumer sentiment is not so high in the B2C market. So what do? People need a reason to come into the market and spend their money. People have money, but they don't want to come and spend because there is nothing very attractive, there is nothing very stimulating. That is the reason why, in order to stimulate a demand, a lot of marketing, a lot of companies through their marketing programs offer promotions, offer deep down discounts, offer festival, discounts, and there are also end of season sales, as I told you. So a lot of things are there. So you need to stimulate demand. That is one thing. Second is, a lot of products can be launched into the market which talks about their newer uses. To talk about new uses with which that they can do things a lot more better. So that way it stimulates demand. Like for example, how did companies like Tupperware do their business? Tupperware in fact positioned its products by stating by emphasizing on smart storage. What is smart storage? Smart storage is trying to make sure that they use the little space that they have in their kitchen cabinets and cupboards to the maximum benefit by ensuring that they buy very innovative, convenient kind of storages. The see-through Tupperware storages that are considered to be very good, and then you can stock and store things and then utilize your space quite well. So in that way, Tupperware was trying to target the women and talk to them about smart storage, right? So that is how the demand was stimulated in the Tupperware market. So you have to do something extraordinary. You got to come up with a new gimmick. You have to come up with a new promotional strategy. You have to come up with some nice discount, end of season sale, or you remember this company called the Favorite Shop, right? What does Favorite Shop do? Favorite Shop do? What is their major marketing strategy? Anybody? Favorite Shop?
Discount, sir.
50% off. Twice in a year they go on 50% off, which means anything that you come into a store and buy is 50%. So there are two fashion outlets in Bangalore that do that. One is Favorite Shop and the other is Show Off. So there are these two stores that go on 50% discount twice a year. That is the way they stimulate demand. So people who've been buying from all the other places and also buying online are made to come to their stores because there is this attractive offer of 50%. Anything that you buy 50% on the MRP is what you get. So in that way, they stimulate demand and also ensure that a lot of unsold stock gets sold and they increase their liquidity and cash flows into the firm. So third aspect is stimulating demand. Fourth is joint demand. Along with the derived demand, we also talk about joint demand because when a commodity is made with several components put together. So the moment the demand for that commodity goes up, automatically all the components that are linked to making that particular product also goes up. So this is what is called joint demand. So when you take an automobile for that matter, when you take a car for that example, when consumer sentiment and index in the B2C goes up and consumer demand for cars go up, automatically the demand in the automobile industry goes up. When demand in the automobile industry goes up, when all these car companies are manufacturing cars and trying to match supply to demand, automatically demand for steel, demand for engines, demand for rubber, demand for tires, demand for upholstery, demand for car music systems, car security systems, alarms, Bluetooth, all of that is linked to a car is going to go up. This is called jointed demand. So automatically it spurts a demand. In economics, we call this as multiplier effect. Demand for one commodity triggers off demand for several other commodities, and automatically there is a buoyancy that is seen in the market, right? So that is what a B2B market can do, right? So these are things that we need to understand. The last thing that you need to understand when it comes to the B2B market is price sensitivity. So when does demand in the B2C go up? Does anybody know the law of demand that you studied in economics? Law of demand.
Yes, sir.
Yes. We talk
Yes,
about
sir.
price elasticity. We talk about price inelasticity, right? Nandish, what is the law of demand, Nandish?
Yes, sir. So the higher the demand, higher the price. Lower the demand, lower the price.
No, it's not higher the demand, higher the price. No.
Sorry, just a minute.
Higher the demand,
It's vice
lower
versa.
the price. Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, Kevin,
vice
what is
versa.
it?
Sir, higher the price, lower the demand.
Absolutely.
Lower the price, higher the demand.
Exactly. So it's an inverse relationship. Nandish, it's not a linear relationship, it's an inverse relationship in the B2C market.
Yes,
So
I
what
say
is the
it's
inverse
an
relationship?
inverse relationship.
When
Yes,
one
sir.
goes up, the other comes down automatically. So the law of demand states that other things remaining the same, when the price of the commodity increases, when the price of a commodity increases, quantity demanded decreases. So when price of a certain product that you're regularly buying goes up, what happens to you? You stop buying that commodity, or you reduce the quantity of the commodity that you buy, because now it's become expensive. You understand? Like for example, when the price of coffee increases, let's say for example, price of coffee, yeah, I mean very similar to onions. Don't go anywhere looking for a reason, right? All those places, especially those restaurants that you used to go, where onions used to be given to you freely. Now, what has happened to all of that? Restaurants, what are they giving you instead?
It's a kira, cucumber.
They're giving you cucumber. They're giving you cucumber. They're giving you cabbages, right? Onion is out of sight. Why is onion out of the sight? Because price of onion has gone up. So when price of onion has gone up, quantity demanded has also come down, which means all those restaurants, hotels, all those people who are buying those onions and giving you very freely, right, are not able to do that anymore because the price has increased. So their cost is going to increase. And what they've done is they've not increased the price of the food items that they are charging. Price of the food items remains the same, right? So if they increase the price of your food items, then automatically they can give you free onions because that cost is taken care in the high price that they charge. But when price of those food commodities and all those items that you're buying does not change, so they have to maintain the cost. So in order to maintain that cost, they make sure that onions are not served. So that is where we look at this very good example of price sensitivity. So in the B2C, what happens when there is a very high sensitivity to price? When we say when there is very high sensitivity, it means demand is elastic. What is elasticity? Elasticity in demand means when there is a change in the quantity demanded due to a change in the price. When price comes down, when price of the MRP of a commodity comes down, automatically demand increases. So this is where we try to increase the demand for products in the B2C market. How do we do that? By reducing the price. How can you reduce the price? When can you offer? If you want more customers to come and buy your company's commodity, when can you reduce the price? Sharath, how can we do that? Yeah, Sharath, how can we do that? How can we make more people come and buy? They will come and buy only when I reduce the price of the commodity that I'm offering. But when can I do? If you're an entrepreneur or if you're running a business, when can you offer that low price in MRP? When can you do that? If you're running a business. Samuel Mavilil. Samuel?
So there's a high demand, sir.
Yes, Samuel, when can you do that? If you're running a business, when can you offer less than MRP?
So when there's a surplus of demand, sir.
Okay, demand is high, but when demand will go up only when you reduce the price. So as a business guy, when will you reduce the price of your commodity? When can you do that?
So when
I
there
have
is
sir. So when I have to sell off my goods.
When there is excessive commodity, sir.
Okay, dude. So
when
if
there
you
is
want
no
to sell that
demand.
excess commodity, what do you do? See, when you want to sell off that excess commodity, you are making a loss.
So marketing. So marketing.
See, when you're selling less than MRP, you are incurring a loss. Please understand that. You're incurring a loss. If an MRP of a commodity is say 200 rupees and you have to sell that particular product, if you want to make a product, you have to sell it at 200 rupees. Instead of that, you're selling it at 170. So the moment you say that the price of my commodity is 170, and when a consumer goes into the market and he compares the price of your commodity with the rest of the others, he finds out that competitor's commodity is 200, but your company's product is selling the same commodity at 170 rupees. So what happens to demand? Demand will become elastic in your favor, correct? More consumers will come and buy because price is less at your place. But what is the disadvantage? You're incurring a 30 rupee loss. You understand that logic? You're incurring a 30 rupee loss. So when can you make sure that you don't make a loss of that 30 rupees? How will you make sure that you don't incur a loss of 30 rupees? Harish? Harish?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Harish. How will you make sure that you don't incur that loss of 30 rupees?
Sir, if more customers are coming, automatically the
Okay, good point.
loss will be compensated now.
One is you will offset that loss through economies of scale. When there are more number of customers who are coming and buying, automatically what happens is your cost of production, all of that reduces because now you are operating at bulk, right? One is because of economies of scale. So when there are more number of customers who are coming and buying, there is more production, more sale, automatically efficiency increases. So you're going to cut down cost. That is one way by which you can do it. What is the other way by which you can do it? So one way that you're telling me is economies of scale. So when people come and buy in bulk, automatically you get that advantage. What is the other way by which you can offset that 30 rupee?
Sir, I don't
Anybody
know exactly.
has an answer? Navinan? Navinan is. He's not there. Mark?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mark. What can we do? Tell me. 30 rupees if I have to not bear that loss. Not sure.
No, sir. I'm not sure, sir.
Okay. So there are only two ways by which you can do it. One is by that scale advantage. We call that as economies of scale, that point that Harish said. So let's say, for example, originally if you had only about 1,000 customers coming and buying from you when your price was 200. Now, when the moment you reduce the price to 170, your demand has gone up to 1,600, which means 600 new additional customers have now decided to buy from you. They have switched over from other companies from where they were buying. They have switched over to you. So the advantage that you are able to gain by serving to another additional 600 customers, you're making 600 more products, 600 more quantity of raw material is going to be purchased. So that is where you're going to offset because you're getting that additional revenue flow through that 600 people who are coming in buying exclusively or buying first time from you. So that is one way by which you can offset that loss. The second way by which you can offset the loss is through reducing the cost of production. So you got to think about a smart way by which you can reduce the cost of production. That is where companies go in for lean manufacturing, they go for zero inventory, just-in-time management. Why do they do all of this? They want to reduce the cost, right? So they want to reduce that cost by ensuring that all that unnecessary additional cost that they are bearing which is transferred over to the MRP of a commodity. That is what is making it 200. But the moment you do something smart in your supply chain process, and then you're able to reduce that 30 rupee, cost somewhere, then automatically you make that bargain. That is another way by which you can do. Third is the only way you can do that is by taking a reduced profit margin. Let's say, for example, earlier you used to take 20% on every product. Now you're taking only 15%. So which means you are foregoing that 5% profit margin that you were earning. So these are all kind of decisions that companies will make. But the point of price sensitivity is consumers are generally price sensitive in the B2C market. The moment they are very sensitive to the fluctuations of price in the B2C market, demand will become elastic or inelastic depending on how they behave. And since B2B market, is influenced by the derived demand of the B2C, whenever the sensitivity is felt in the B2C, automatically it will be felt in the B2B. That is what is price sensitivity. Like I gave you that example of a mortgage company, there's real estate, right? Now they want more customers are willing to come and buy and book flats only if the price comes down. But the real estate builders are not wanting to reduce the price because they don't want to send out the signal that the market is not doing well. They don't want to let that happen. Now that they've kept a particular price in mind, and then they made everybody in the market believe that this is the price at which this particular flat is going to be sold. The square feet rate is this, right? They don't want people not to, not to have that feeling anymore. They want to ensure that customers have that feeling that this is what is the price. So they want to stimulate demand. So that is why they're trying to, tell the government, make sure that you reduce the stamp duty. Or in some places they're reducing, they're offering additional discount. They're saying that 300 rupee less on the square feet compared to what it was earlier, what we were offering earlier. Now we are reducing it by 300 rupees per SFT. So that also is stimulating, because when you do that cost calculation, automatically you're saving up close to around 3.5 lakhs. So more people are wanting to come. That is what is price sensitivity. When demand for flat goes up, automatically the real estate industry that is linked to all that construction activity, all that supplies of all the construction material, engineering, all of that, the demand goes up. That is how the B2C, B2B operates. So you need to understand these demand dynamics in the market. Only then we will be able to make some good decisions out of it. So that is where we're looking at how derived demand, B2B operates on derived demand. It operates on fluctuating demand. It operates on, you need to stimulate demand, and then there is also price sensitivity. So you have to know in which B2B are you operating. Depending on the B2B industry and the sector that you are operating, you must understand how closely is it linked to the B2C and the final demand in the market. So depending on that only, you can make any sort of a decision and also formulate any marketing strategy as such. Okay, so these are the three category of goods that we have. I'll just take another 2-3 minutes and then I will wind up. So these are the three category of goods that we have in the B2B market. The first type of goods are called entering goods. The second type of goods are called foundation goods. The third type of goods are called facilitating goods. So when I'm talking about demand in the B2B going up, which means all those manufacturers and all those original equipment manufacturers, all those suppliers, all those input and raw material suppliers who are there. They could be either selling commodities which are called entering goods, which means if you are a B2B player and you're selling to another B2B manufacturer, you could be a seller of the entering good, right? Or secondly, you could be a seller of a foundation good. If you're selling a machinery or an equipment, then you're a foundation good seller. Thirdly, or you could only be a seller or a supplier of facilitating goods. Now, this could be all those overhead expenses. This could be lubrication components that you are selling, which is part of the facilitation process, or maintenance of your machines is a facilitating, or if you're selling software to the company, that could be a facilitating product. So you must understand in which category are you operating. So B2B buyers generally buy goods that are classified as entering goods, goods that are classified as foundation goods, goods that are classified as facilitating goods. So if you're a B2B, manufacturer and seller, you should be able to know whether you are operating, whether you are selling a entering good. So what are the characteristics of the entering good? Secondly, if you are the seller of a foundation good, what are the characteristics of the foundation good seller and how does that market operate? And then if you're a facilitating good, then what is that good and how often can you sell it and what are the dynamics of that kind of selling is what you need to understand. Right, so remember this part is very important. So sometime in future when you get hired by a B2B company, so you must know whether the company that's hiring you is an entering good company or whether it's a foundation good company and whether it is a facilitating good company. Right? So depending on which company hires you and what is that kind of product or component that they are selling to the B2B, your role, your designation, your responsibility, and the kind of the manner in which you need to think, the way you pitch to these B2B sellers and to the B2B buyers, and the manner in which you are going to be formulating your marketing strategy, your sales strategy, all of that is going to depend on this. So please remember these three things. So tomorrow when we come back for the next session, we will look at that. Okay, so we need to understand the characteristics of entering goods. We need to understand the characteristics of foundation goods, and we need to understand the characteristics of the facilitated goods. Okay, so when we come back in the next class, we will take a look at that. Okay, is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so have a view on that. Let's. Okay, then any questions, anything that you have, anything that you want to ask me? Okay, tomorrow make sure that you are into class on time. Today, a couple of y'all were locked out because I'm going to lock the meeting 2 minutes after the class starts on time. So you got to be on time, right? So just because we are on Zoom, personal Zoom, that's why many of y'all were able to attend, right? So next class onwards, make sure that you are on time. Okay then, and don't forget to do those 2 exercises. For all those who were not there when I gave you the instructions, there are 2 exercises that are there on your LMS. So there is this option called the forum. You can read that particular case. It's a Home Depot case. Read the case and then write your answers in the forum. And there are these characteristics of B2B and B2C based on certain parameters. Go to that particular forum and then click on that and then answer and you submit. Okay, so these 2 exercises are part of your internal assessment and the exercise will be open for the next 2 days. It will close automatically on the 18th afternoon at 2 o'clock. Okay, so please make sure that you do that sometime today evening or tomorrow. Okay, all right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much and see you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.